At Viking, we try to make it as simple as possible to get you flying with the Viking engine. This is the wire diagram that we have on our website, and what you see behind it is a pre-done wire system that you can just drop into your airplane, and it'll have power for your fuel pumps, your ECU, alternator, contactors, pass-throughs for the starter, and just on and on and on. Everything that's engine related. Now, we have been kind of selling this as a pre-made product using either a plate for the instrument panel where this switch panel is pre-wired. We also have it as a console, which means the Zenith airplane has this same width console, and you can use this top part and then cut it or bend it, and then this bottom part for the flat part of the console. So that just makes it easy. There's enough of a pigtail now. We're offering the two systems together as well, and you can then mount this between the instrument, or the bottom instrument tube, and the firewall brace or angle, and then you can mount this in the upright position for the console, and then everything is already pre-done. So that's something that's offered, makes it easier, or you can follow the wire diagram and also the explanation that I'm going to give of how to put this together, and you can do it yourself. Let's talk about the batteries themselves. These are the batteries that are recommended, and they're the PC310s. We don't use lithium anymore, too much trouble with that. These weigh just a tiny bit more, and they don't have quite as much capacity, but they're extremely reliable, which is what we're looking for. The system uses two batteries. Both batteries are used all the time, except when you leave the traffic pattern area and you go on a cross-country trip. Then you separate one battery and put it on standby, and that's done through the two contactors. Let's talk about the ground side. We loop the two batteries together with a number 10. We bring a number 10 wire to each side of our grounding bus, and we do the same. We come off of there and we go to the firewall pass-through with two of them, because that's going to have to carry the starting current. Two number 10s is about the same as a 7-gauge wire, so it's enough for the starter. On the starter lug, we took the insulation off and put some spacers in, whatever number you need, depending on the thickness of your firewall, and you tighten that against the firewall, and then your two ground straps go on the outside to the engine, located two different places on the engine. Now let's move over to the positive side of the system. So over here we have, again, two number 10s. They go to the input side of the contactors. Contactors are marked with a little plus sign on a sticker. And then we have a diode to help prevent spike in the contactor, with the stripe towards the input side. Stripe on the diode, you'll see that on the diagram. And then the other end goes to our engage terminal that gets grounded when you engage the contactor through the switches over here. The output side is tied together with a number 6 cable. Now here's where, with both batteries on, you have a lot more current, and then that's just routed out to the starter. Here we do use the insulation on the pass-through. You also have to be very careful when you mount this with the screws, that the screws on one side or the other side does not touch any of your cables. So this is now set up where these screws are flush here. You drill a hole big enough for this diameter here, and then the screws go on the outside and they're below this plastic surface, so there's no way to ground it. And then on the outside, you're going to take this nut off. You're going to put two cables on here, one from the alternator and one goes to the starter. The one from the alternator is a number 8, and the one to the starter is a number 6 cable. We also come off the output side of the contactors with a number 10 to just a junction plate here, and here's where we're going to use this terminal and this terminal. One is coming in here just to power it up, and then we're going to take our ECU power and get it from, take this nut off, and we're going to put that piggyback back that on there when we get our ECU installed. And over here we're just pulling power, and that's what powers this, all the switches and the circuit breakers over there. Then we have a 30 amp fuse that bridges from this to this, and now from here, as soon as you get across this 30 amp fuse, you can use this bus bar to power the rest of the airplane. None of these other things, or from here back, is going to power anything in the airplane directly without first passing through the 30 amp fuse, because we want the engine side to be the primary protected side for redundancy and allowing the engine to have priority for electrical power. Through the 30 amp fuse, then from here on you can run airframe wires like lights and all that kind of stuff directly to these screws. You can also use this post to jump to other bus bars that will be like your avionics bus, your lighting bus, that kind of stuff. And then we have, inside of that, we have 2 terminal strips, and those are just handy. They're handy for wiring your airplane, and they're also handy to be able to have this remote from this, meaning that all the wires that come from there have a place on the terminal strip, and then we can wire to or from that. Now let's look at some of the things on the terminal strip. We have a contactor and contactor wire, so they end up here and here, and then so there's just grounds to close the contactors. If you took a jumper from here and you touched it to ground, this contactor would close, and the same with this one, it would close. So because of that, we go here and here, and then from the other side we go down to our switch, and it's switched to ground, so that means there's wires coming back, and they go to our ground bus here. Contactor and contactor. Now, working our way down, we have the starter. This is the output from the starter relay, which is here, and we're going to eventually, when we get our engine installed, hook up the starter cranking wire right here. Moving down, we have starter relay. Those go to the relay, power up the relay, and then there's a ground for the relay right here. So that's the starter engaged circuit. 2 of the wires also go out to our starter switch, or our key switch, so that when we energize that, it actually cranks the starter. That closes the relay, which engages the starter. Then after that, we have an alternator location, which means that when we turn the alternator switch over here, we will energize this terminal right here. And so once we get our engine installed, we're going to hook our alternator field to this terminal right here. Then we're going to do the same as we wire in our fuel pumps. Our positive side of our pumps are going to go here and here, and our grounds are going to go over here, fuel pump. And then we have a spare, which is just a location you can add something that runs on this last switch. And as long as it's less than an amp of draw, you can use it here, or you have to change the breaker to a larger breaker. But don't forget, you're on the engine side, so it should be related to something that have to do with the engine, like an engine monitor or something like that. All right, so yeah, basically you can buy in our Firewall Forward all these components, or you can buy it as a complete switch panel, or you can buy it as a power panel like this, a tray, or you can buy it all complete, where the parts and the labor and everything is done so that you would mount this, and you would mount this here, and you'd hook up the wires I just explained on the terminal strip, and everything will be working right out of the box. All your choice, very modular and easy to do.